Welcome to Hack Talks, brought to you by NetWitness Incident Response Team, your weekly dive into the hottest picks, the strangest twists, and the you couldn't make this up moments in global cybersecurity. Every week, we break down what's happening out there, challenge a little bit of conventional thinking, and of course, we crown this week's epic fail. My name is Gordon Dixon, your host, based in Glasgow, Scotland, and I'm joined as always by Stefano Macalia, director based in Rome, Italy, and James Sobel, senior manager in Merritt Island, Florida. Hi, James.
Hey, good to be here, guys.
Resistance is futile.
All right, let's start with in the news, the stories that grabbed our attention this week. There's no shortage of eyebrow raisers. So, James, what's caught your eye this week?
I got a headline for you guys. All right, here's this headline from TechCrunch. Microsoft says hackers are exploiting critical zero-day bugs to target Windows and Office users. Is that news? I think the news is that that's news. I mean, that they just recycle those, and I'm not really picking on. You could, change Microsoft and put any other company in there. It's not really a knock on them, so to speak, but okay, it's another critical zero-day exploit, right? And this time kind of, in the windowing interface, if you read into this article, the kind of the scary thing is it's what they call a one-click attack. So, a threat actor can deploy a link or some other button, user clicks that button, and now they are able to skirt by Microsoft's protections against those things. There's the bug. And then deploy some piece of malware to do something else that's really bad for your organization. Microsoft has patched these, right? So, it's not really a 0-day anymore. They've patched these fixes, right? But it was a 0-day for, I don't know, for a long time. And it's actively the exploit, the details of it are published. So if you haven't patched these or any of these, the lesson here is that patching is one of your biggest defenses. And if you haven't done it, you're likely in trouble because this is a widely exploited bug. And it goes to something that we've talked about before. You got to have a plan B. The 0 days are a very real thing. And you should just assume these are the cases as you move along your journey to protect you and your organization and even yourself personally. But I thought that was both interesting and just to be a little sarcastic there that they're actually that this is news.
Yeah, the news is not that Microsoft is targeted, and not because we have anything against Microsoft, but it's a typical target. It's obvious. It's the major producer of the most wider used operating system in the world. So it's not new for anybody. But from the other perspective, surely these type of glitches, these type of bugs inside the source code, inside the behavior of the operating system, surely should wake up all the companies, even the private sector, even the individuals, to have ready a plan B, which means not necessarily you need to take another operating system, obviously, but you surely need to be on top of the news regarding these expectations and patch as much and as quicker as you can. So guys, hurry up. This is really bad. This is real. Our red team is already exploiting it for testing. So please be sure to be patched.
And Stefano, what have you spotted this week? What would you like to share with us?
Well, same story. It means another CVE, another big exploitation. Unfortunately, we spoke about Microsoft, and it's frequent into the news regarding the exploitation. I should say that Ivanti is getting the news as well with a lot of frequency in the last 2 years. This one is the new CVE of this year, targeting a critical flow into Ivanti, EPMM, that is basically the system inside the solution of the Ivanti, is scoring a very high CVSS score, but this is not the point. The point is that this attack technique, this exploitation technique, has been specifically adopted by one actor. And why we can say that? Because whopping 83% of the post-exploitation communications recorded, and this is the news, from the victims, are all aimed toward one single IP that is coming from a Prospero, so-called VPS, which is a provider, is a bulletproof host, basically. And it means that a specific actor was exploiting that massively, and they were not even planning to rotate their VPS, their C2s, their command and control system. They simply continue to work with one, even saving some money by ending everything from one IP. Yeah. So guys, from the 1st of February up to the 9th of February, basically a few days ago, more than 300 different user agents connected with that IP. That Grey Noise is a firm that the media reported. And even us, reviewing some of the, let's say, analysis in our engagements, confirm that the vast majority of the victim of the initial exploited systems communicating after the exploitation were aimed to this specific IP, which is remarkable from one side. Obviously, it's also concerning because it means that potentially, if you guys are not patching your Ivanti system, you can potentially be targeted easily. Even if this IP is no longer reachable, there is still the problem that the provider do not offer any support directly. So again, big problem, especially when the bulletproof hosts are engaged.
You know, Stefano, you've said that a couple times, and when we were looking at these articles initially, I was like, bulletproof servers, those sound like they should be really robust. They should be really helping. You know, if Vante is somehow using this bulletproof network, it should be really good. And I think it's you know, obviously we're using that term, and that term is widely used differently. It's really bulletproof for the attackers not to be discovered or not to be chased down by law enforcement.
Yeah,
but I think it's an interesting juxtaposition there.
100% is the bulletproof vest for the attacker to dress.
For the bad guys.
Yeah, for the bad guys, not for the good guys. But we will discuss about that later even.
Wonderful.
Thanks, a lot to take away there. And what really struck me is if you're still thinking that you have to check your resilience and protection on a weekly basis, now you have to consciously be protecting on a daily basis. As part of your tasks, are you ensuring that you are up to speed with everything? Are you aware of what's going on? Because these attacks are relentless, and that's what we're hearing in the news from James and Stefano. So thank you for that.
You will be assimilated.
Now on to the moment of truth. This week's epic fail. This is where we look at a cyber blunder, slip up, or a downright questionable decision, and we rate it on our famous epic fail scale from 0 to 10. 0 is basically a rounding error, mostly harmless, and 10 is a full what the FIM were you thinking. So let's break down today's contender. And actually, this is something that I saw in Wired recently, which was a breach on an AI child's toy that exposed left a console open that anyone with a Google account could access over 50,000 chat logs with the children, the kids that were playing with this toy. And it's a real cautionary tale, this privacy by hope and not privacy by design. And it's especially ugly because the data subjects were children, and it's drawing in political scrutiny. It's been mentioned, I think, in the Senate or the Congress in the US has picked on this, and rightly so. So it's interesting. We think about cybersecurity as protecting financial information, businesses, business data, and infrastructure. But now these tools, this technology isn't in the teddy bears that young Stefano, James, or Gordon had when we were kids.
I am really concerned about my baby Yoda that is sitting on my desk, because potentially he can listen to almost everything that I say during calls and stuff like that. But joke apart, I think it's really important to expand our consciousness about the risk connected with the cybersecurity to all the aspects of our daily life. So it means that from my perspective, it's good to start, let's say, scrutinizing also, let's say, the way our tools, our daily tools, are potentially interacting with the rest of the world, especially with the internet, because that is surely something that should be applied as a rule, that everything that is going into the private spheres of the individuals should be well protected. And obviously, this is a long journey to achieve. We are just at the beginning. It's a pioneer work nowadays.
Yeah, I would agree, and I think this kind of ties in with our last epic fail, honestly, which is when you take something that maybe a traditional business process or a toy or a product, something that you had certain safety and privacy concerns when it was just on its own, it was analog and it was not connected to the rest of the world. Well, that means one thing, but what this epic fail makes clear, and I think the combination of the two of them reinforces, is that we just aren't good at understanding how things are connected and the ramifications of logging a chat with a child and then having it being available globally, right? I mean, it just is not hitting our consciousness yet. And that to me is one part of the big fail here. I mean, the biggest fail is they didn't account for the privacy settings, and they could have easily done so. But to expand on that is to not consider the ramifications of those actions. It really hurts. Yeah.
Yes, I agree. And for me, that's why I would rate this as a 9, not just because of what we said about who it affected, but I think to really raise it as a warning, to everyone to think about the very things both of you have just spoke about. This should be a wake-up call to everybody. So I'm going to score this a 9 on our epic fail scale.
I agree.
Stefano.
9 for me as well. 100%.
Yeah. And James?
It's unanimous. Yeah, it's definitely a 9. I mean, it doesn't sound like anybody was harmed, but
yeah, lucky.
This is bad stuff. The awareness needs to be high on this one for sure.
I think this is a ringing bell for us, again, to check other devices of the similar usage, that should be scrutinized in order to ensure that there is no exposure of this device to a potential malicious eavesdropping from whoever is potentially connecting with them. So that is really important.
Do parents not have enough to do? I mean, I feel bad. Right? Now you have to scrutinize all your children's toys for attack surface. Oh.
Yeah. I know. It's a challenge, but I think it's worth to be carried out nowadays, especially based on these examples, James, right?
Yeah.
This week's epic fail score is 9.
And if you're listening and thinking, oh, I've seen something even bigger than this, or flags a warning sign like today's epic fail has done so, then please do add your scores and your nominations to the chat in the video below. And you never know, we may even use one of your epic fails in an episode in the future. Before we wrap up, let's flip the mood with this week's mighty win. Something genuinely uplifting from the cyber world, a moment of competence or cleverness, or just a rare feel-good story in a sometimes gloomy landscape. And the mighty win this week is from you, Stefano. So what would you like to share with James and I today?
Yeah, it happens a couple of weeks ago, but I want to report that because it's meaningful. Microsoft cooperated with law enforcement agencies from Germany, especially, to disrupt RedVDS. For whoever is not into the investigation style, RedVDS doesn't mean it doesn't sound anything, but is a bulletproof provider. It's basically offering a very cheap, very affordable, and let's say, well-protected services. Connection services. Basically, they rent servers for, let's say, fishy audience, to say at least, specifically to the cyber criminals, and is the galactic equivalent of Vogon bureaucracy for hackers. It means that they offer cheap, disposable Windows RDP servers, and this happened since 2019, based on our records. And they went be used, these servers, for phishing, scams, fraud, and based on a calculation, a very rough calculation, it seems that the overall quantity of incident, they generated roughly $40 million of damage operating from this specific provider. And this is something that came from, let's say, public sources. So I'm not saying that myself. But you know what? These RedVDS operators, they were offering $24 per month service that you can rent. And whatever you publish there is bulletproof, like we told earlier, right? It means that they don't scrutinize what is released into these systems, what is the purpose of these systems. You just pay, and that's all. And in any case where somebody is questioning the provider itself about what has been released into one or more of these servers, they do not reply to any request, to any question coming even from the authorities. So it's remarkable, to say at least, that Microsoft and the law enforcement agencies were able to take down this. Obviously, this is not the first time a bulletproof host has been, let's say, removed from the internet. And unfortunately, the problem is that they will, let's say, colonize the internet again like the mushrooms, right? You cut the head one side and the head will appear on another side. But surely is remarkable and is a very good news that this specific operator that was becoming really massive has been removed from the availability of the cyber criminals and potentially other malicious actors. So that I don't think internet is safer now, but surely they will struggle for some weeks to recover their systems and from a different bulletproof, which is pretty much what the action was targeted to. So I applaud for this action.
Yeah, great news here, right? I mean, they're able to disrupt this group. They're able to disrupt these capabilities. It's a great positive. You know, we had quite a negative thing come out about Microsoft, you know, in an earlier episode, and we have a very positive thing here,
yeah.
Right? You know, again, great news. And I liked your characterization, Stefano. Kind of like weeding, though. You went out, you weeded the yard, and the yard looks great.
Yeah.
Those weeds are coming back.
Absolutely.
Feel good about the work you just did. Let's feel good about that. Let's do more of it. More.
Another funny aspect is that when they took down the servers, they found it was basically already known, but it was confirmed that all the VPSs were generating from one single Microsoft server image. One single image to spawn 26,000 servers into this provider, which is very, very funny on a certain aspect.
Yeah, creative, right? I mean, I mean, the attackers are creative. I think we've covered, you know, if not here and recently, we've kind of really covered how attackers are creative. They are creating economy of scale. They know that their customers are after a discount. Cost is interesting. They're thinking about how much things cost. I mean, it's really operating like a business, and hopefully, you know, on a good note, that means we can start treating them like any business, right? And use those economics and those economies of scale against them.
Think about it. They spend just the cost of one license from Microsoft.
Shh, I don't think Microsoft wants to know that part. $24 a month and you've got a license, right? I mean, and look how much it was free to them, or maybe they paid for the one. I don't know, but you know,
Yeah, that's funny. Gordon, what
That
you
is
think?
kind of funny.
It's really interesting. It's clear that with the level of sophistication and consequence to what's going on and how the attacks are coming, that sense of collaboration, having to work across agencies, across organizations and corporations to be able to fight this is going to be the only way to address this. And I'm not very green fingered myself, so I feel very frightened by the consequences of all the gardening that's going to be required to be done and how relentless it is, which is why I have to confess it's only plastic IKEA plants in my flat here in Glasgow.
All right.
So
Lego and
but
IKEA
well done.
plants. You don't have to worry about weeds with those.
No, but as we heard earlier, even a toy can pose a security threat. So I'm going to go and just double check to make sure that those plants are safe and not growing. But
and
a
no
huge
heavens
thanks-
dropping you.
Yeah, absolutely. But thank you very much. Hopefully everyone's really got a lot from today's episode, from the news items, from the epic fails and the mighty win as well.
You have been watching Hack Talks.
So a huge thanks to Stefano and James for joining me, and thanks to you for tuning in. This has been Hack Talks from NetWitness Incident Response, and we'll see you all next time for another episode. So it's goodbye from me, Gordon, in Glasgow, and it's goodbye from Stefano
in Rome. Yeah.
And James.
See you all next time.
Thanks again.
Bye-bye, guys.
Goodbye.
Ciao.